All right, here with our live Q&A, Rashard Lee, always coming through with some great questions, says the Lakers trade for Derrick Rose with Alex Caruso and a second-round pick. So the Lakers actually already offered this to the Detroit Pistons earlier in the season, and the Detroit Pistons already said no. So if you really want Derrick Rose, it's going to have to take Alex Caruso and at least a first-round pick. Maybe 2 first-round picks, maybe a young asset like a Taylor Horton-Tucker, who I don't think Laker fans even want to trade right now. However, I would not be surprised to see Derrick Rose end up on the Lakers. I think the Lakers are definitely going to target him. I think he's a great secondary playmaker off the bench, or maybe even in the starting 5. Could be a lot of fun, but it's going to take more than Alex Caruso and a second-round pick. Big Play Slay asks, do you think Kawhi Leonard and Pandemic P are gone in 2 years? This is an interesting question, and it's something that nobody is talking about. Pandemic P, a.k.a. Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard signed 2-year deals with the Los Angeles Clippers. So if the Clippers don't make it to the finals in those next 2 years, why would they stay? There is a lot of pressure on this team to win right here, right now. And if that doesn't happen, yeah, I think both those guys are gone, and the Clippers are going to be building from scratch once again. That's a great question. It's something that I think more people need to be asking. There's a lot of pressure on this Clipper team to win, a lot of pressure on Doc Rivers, and a lot of pressure on Steve Ballmer to build around those two while he still can. Style Stunner 55 asks, do you think the Warriors are a true title contender in 2021? I really do. When you got Steph Curry, who is going to be a top 5 player when he comes back, when you got Klay Thompson, who's arguably the best shooter in the NBA, you got Draymond Green, who's a great defender, you have a top 2 pick who you can either trade for an established player or draft someone and continue to make them a real good contributor off the bench. Why wouldn't they be a true title contender in 2021? I think they're a top 4 team in the Western Conference, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm going to say yes for now, but injuries could change everything. Rogue Brothers says, should the Mavs get Marc Gasol or Tristan Thompson or even Serge Ibaka? We don't know how Powell will be after his injury. You know, I really do love the idea of adding a veteran like one of those guys. Tristan Thompson's still under contract, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, both free agents. If the Mavs have the money, sure, why not? I like Marc Gasol because he's got the experience, but he's also much, much older. I think Serge Ibaka would be the better fit right now, but I think he could go either way, and I'd be happy with either one of them. So I'll say yes. I'll say yes to Marc Gasol, yes to Serge Ibaka, all for the right price, of course, and no to Tristan Thompson because I'm not looking to trade anything for a big man. Jonathan says, if Giannis Antetokounmpo leaves, where do you see him going? So here's my thing. I've said this, and I'm sticking true to it. I don't think he's leaving. I think he's staying put in Milwaukee. But if he does leave, I do think the Dallas Mavericks are the #1 destination for him. Maybe that's some bias. Maybe not. But truly, if he leaves Milwaukee, I think joining up with young guys like Luka and KP make a lot of sense for Giannis. Now, Giannis was just named Defensive Player of the Year, which kind of baffled me. Now, I'm a big Giannis fan. I think he deserves MVP, but Anthony Davis is the Defensive Player of the Year. So let me know in the comment section below. Did Giannis Antetokounmpo deserve that Defensive Player of the Year award? Type Y for yes, type N for no, and you can catch me typing my N for no. I think that award should have gone to Anthony Davis. Big Play Slay in with another question. This one about John Wall. Do you think he will return to his normal form? Man, John Wall has had some crazy injuries since he's been in D.C., and Bradley Beal's been holding down the ship over there as best he can. I don't think he's going to be his normal form. He's not going to be that fast, quick, lightning fast guy that comes in, and he's one of the most explosive point guards in the NBA. But I do think he will be close to all-star form. I'm excited to see John Wall back in the NBA. I think people forget how good he truly was. But when he's 100% healthy, he's a game changer for that Wizards team. And if you've got Bradley Beal, John Wall, Rui Hachimura, you get a top 10 pick in this next year's draft, this Wizards team has something to finally build around. One Sin City 1 says, what do the Wizards do next? So we'll stick here in D.C. Well, obviously, as I mentioned, they have that number 7 overall pick. In my last mock draft, I had them taking James Wiseman. Now, I'm very skeptical on whether or not he'll actually fall that far. It just remains to be seen. But I think just keep building through the draft. I think you hold on to what you've got. Maybe you look to trade John Wall for some future draft assets. but I think you got to tank again next season. I think next season is another one of these years where the Wizards are back inside the lottery, and that's okay because you got a young guy like Rui Hachimura. You got Thomas Bryant. You got a guy like Troy Brown, who I actually do like a lot, Admiral Schofield. All those young pieces, Isak Bonga, Mo Wagner, those guys are all guys you can build around. You just got to take your time. Don't rush it if you're the Wizards. Now, that's what the Wizards should do. But what you should do is subscribe. It's the easiest thing you can do. You scroll down. The button is it's blinking in your face. It's big and red. Just hit subscribe. It goes from red to gray when you subscribe. That's a cool little feature that YouTube throws in there for you. So all you got to do, subscribe to youtube.com/chatsportstv for all the best and free NBA coverage on the internet. I've got NBA coverage 24/7. You don't want to miss it. Let's go to back to Banjo Tolentino. Says, what are your thoughts on Devonte Graham to the Lakers? That'd be great for the Lakers. Why would the Hornets do that? You got to give something in return, and I think the Lakers have a point guard that the Hornets would want to trade for. Devonte Graham is truly in that most improved player conversation. Obviously, he's not a finalist this year, but he's probably top 5 in my opinion. Graham and Terry Rozier, Malik Monk. You also got P.J. Washington, Miles Bridges. You got a top 3 pick this next season. There's no reason for the Hornets to trade Devonte Graham, especially not to the Lakers, who really don't have anything to offer for the Hornets. Shavane Browne says, Myles Turner to the Rockets for Eric Gordon and the 2021 first-round pick. No. Eric Gordon is very, very similar to he's basically just a poor man's version of Victor Oladipo at this point. So why would the Pacers do that? And that first-round pick, not going to be that valuable. That'll probably fall around 20 to 25. And Myles Turner is better than whatever player you're going to find in the 20 to 25 range. So I'm afraid the Indiana Pacers shut that one down. Although for the Rockets, getting a big man in the middle, that'd be pretty darn good. Rogue Brothers with another question today says, who should the Clippers go for this offseason, a point guard or a center? Good question. Let's be real here. Do the Clippers really need to go for anything this offseason, or can they just stand pat? I think the number one priority for Los Angeles this year is just re-sign Montrezl Harrell. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to make a lot of money. I don't really know how much money. I don't know if he's even going to be out of their price range, but number one priority, re-sign Montrezl Harrell. And then if you can trade your way back into the first round, great. But in all honesty, if the Clippers stay pat, they're going to be just fine. I don't think either a point guard or a center is a top priority for Los Angeles. Pebbles Girardi says, who do you think will be the next year? So not this season, next season's top 4 Eastern Conference teams. Definitely the Milwaukee Bucks. Definitely the Miami Heat. I think Miami Heat could be number 2. I'm going to actually move the Raptors down this year because they're just not that good. The Boston Celtics and then the Brooklyn Nets got to be up there with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. You get Spencer Dinwiddie back. You get DeAndre Jordan back. You get even Taurean Prince back. Could be a valuable piece for them. Karis LeVert at 100%. So that's my top 4. I'm hearing Sixers in my ear, and I'm actually going to say no. I do think the top 4, in some fashion, I'm not going to put it in 100% order, but the Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics, and then the Miami Heat. I think that's your top 4 next season. Sorry, Philly. I think you're 5 or 6 again next year. Now, when you go to chatsports.com/NBA Mask, you can rep your favorite team while staying safe, while staying healthy, and keeping everyone around you that you love and care about safe and healthy as well. Whether you want 1, 2, 3, or packs of 4, chatsports.com/NBA Mask has it with your favorite team on the front of it. Look, I already got mine from Fanatics. Big shout out to them for helping us out and sponsoring today's show. Chatsports.com/NBA Mask. That's the best place to go for your NBA themed face mask. It's the playoffs. Everyone in the bubble's wearing one. Why don't you wear one as well? We're going to keep it rolling here with our live Q&A. Any questions you got, I'm going to answer. Jonathan says, who is going to have a breakout season next year? Oh, man, that is a hard question. But I do think a guy like P.J. Washington of the Charlotte Hornets could make a lot of sense. I think he didn't get too much of a chance to shine. I think a guy like R.J. Barrett, all these second-year guys, obviously going to make a little bit of a jump. I like both of those guys quite a bit. I think they could really transition into something else. Another guy that I'd keep an eye on, Mikal Bridges. He already popped in the NBA bubble. No pun intended, popped bubble. Get it anyway. He already did really well in the NBA bubble, but I think you get him for a full year next year. I think he's going to be a breakout most improved player candidate. Watch out for him, Mikal Bridges of the Phoenix Suns. Loyalty asks, if Russ returns and helps the Rockets beat OKC, Are the Lakers in for a tough series? I don't think so. I don't believe in this Houston Rockets team. I think the Lakers would beat them up pretty badly. I think you got guys like Anthony Davis. Who in the world on that Rockets team is going to guard Anthony Davis? Robert Covington? I love Covington. I think he's an elite NBA defender. Anthony Davis is like a whole head taller than him. I think the Lakers would do pretty well and win fairly easily against the Houston Rockets. So I'm going to say no, the Lakers are not in for a tough series, whether they face Houston or OKC, in all honesty. Shavane Browne says, do you think Deni Avdija to the Warriors would be the right move over Wiseman? 100%. I am a 100% believer in Deni Avdija. I think you put him on that team. He could come off the bench. He could potentially start eventually, although not sure where he fits into that starting five. I love Deni Avdija. And for those of you that don't really know a whole lot about his game, see, some people want to say, oh, he's the next Luka Doncic. No. Let's just pump the brakes there. He is not Luka Doncic. And if you expect that, you're going to be disappointed. Think more Danilo Gallinari. That is more of what he is. He's more of that bigger forward position. He's got a little bit of work to do on his jump shot, but it started to come around at the end of last season when he was playing over in Israel. I think he can really be a part of a team's core for the long term.